Thank you. Now at 4, police are continuing to investigate a deadly crash in Sheridan that killed a woman in a wheelchair.
And police say an 81-year-old man hit and killed Connie Nickerson. As that investigation continues, we want to know if the driver's age played a role. Tim Becker goes beyond the headlines tonight to find out if anything is being done to make sure older drivers are still able to drive safely.
Yeah, I found out Oregon and Washington are two of the more lenient states when it comes to restricting older drivers. Neither has an accelerated renewal process for driver's licenses. That said, I also learned both have programs in place to police drivers who can be a risk on the road, and that, of course, includes the elderly.
There's no question that older drivers per mile traveled have high crash rates.
With the number of drivers 70 and over on the rise, some states are taking age-based steps to reduce risk on the road. Hawaii and Iowa, for example, both require drivers 72 and older to renew their licenses every 2 years. In Texas, the age is 85 for 2-year renewals, and Missouri, it is 70 and older every 3 years. Some also require those renewals to be done in person.
There is some evidence that requiring older drivers through accelerated renewal to come into the DMV in person to renew can lower crash rates.
Still, Oregon and Washington are among the states choosing not to impose age-related rules for licensing.
That was really a wasted resource in terms of both customers and DMV.
Oregon DMV's David House tells me since most people don't actually need retesting, state lawmakers instead decided to implement the Medically at-Risk Driver Program. It includes a mandatory report system for doctors who think their patients may not belong on the road anymore.
Instead of simply age, instead of rounding up everybody, it focuses on something that actually has a direct effect on your driving.
He tells me the DMV gets about 2,000 mandatory physician reports each year. In 2012, about 60% of those were 70 or older, and more than half resulted in immediate license suspensions.
At the end of the day, about 90% of those people remain suspended. So it seems to be a very effective program. It seems to be affecting the people who need to be cease driving.
Older drivers tend to self-regulate. The research shows that as people age and they recognize their own limitations, they tend to drive less.
Self-regulation, of course, what most people do once they realize they may be at risk, on the road rather, behind the wheel. Now, but along with the mandatory reporting, there's also voluntary reporting by law enforcement, doctors, family, and friends. And that, I'm told, continues to be an effective way as well for the DMV to take at-risk drivers off of the road.